Hi there. I am the CRM Ninja, and on today's episode of the Oops Factor, I have a fellow ninja joining me, none other than Dynamics Ninja, aka Ivan Fitzko. Welcome to the show, Ivan.
Hello, EY. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm glad to be here.
It's great to have you. I mean, I know you've been lurking around somewhere, but even to, myself as a ninja, seeing another trained ninja is very difficult to spot.
That's really strange because there are a lot of ninjas here, but I can hope so.
We don't talk about the ninjas that are just everywhere. We just assume that they're there.
Yeah, of course, they're always there in stealth mode, hiding somewhere.
Stealth mode, very important. People, yeah, remember there is always a ninja.
Yeah.
So things that are not so much of a ninja are the image that I sort of have behind me, because I understand that you have an interest in playing basketball.
Yeah, I'm into the basketball from my early ages, but not the full court one, but more like 3v3. So the street style basketball. I Personally, I hate playing full-size basketball court game. I
Okay.
pretty much always play 3-on-3. It's in my heart from the early days. That's for sure.
So what are the differences between full size basketball, full team, and 3-on-3, apart from, of course, the number of people?
It's not time limited most of the time. There are some rules that it's time limited. For example, for one attack, you have 14 seconds or so, but most of the time it's point based. So first team that scores 21 wins the game, and basically everything else is more or less the same. So you're playing on a half court and
Okay.
playing to 21 points.
Okay. So does that
Yeah.
mean the games can take much longer?
Yeah, of course. If it's not limited, because in some rules there are time limits on attacks, but if there is no time limit, it can take ages. But it's more interesting when there is time limit on attack, of course, because it's higher paced.
Yes. Yes. I mean, if we think of
Yeah,
basketball games, I remember the first time that I saw a basketball game, it was amazing to me how short, I mean, a full size team, it was
yeah,
amazing to me how short it actually was because of the time rules.
yeah. It is. It's not that big.
No, compared with a football or soccer game, or a tennis match or something like that, it's really short.
Yeah.
So what is the longest match that you can remember playing?
The longest match we took almost an hour, 45 minutes. That's quite a lot.
Wow.
If you ask me, but it's not a competition match or stuff like that. That's in the neighborhood when we are playing in the local courts. That can take ages with all the fouls and stuff like that. It can take a lot.
I like the way you say
And I
just
think
casually
that's
with all
more
the
harsh.
fouls.
Yeah, but because big guys playing basketball, it's always harsh. You need to follow your opponents so much to win the game. That's basically it. We are more aggressive on 3-on-3 than on the full size court basketball. That's for sure.
Okay, okay. I make it a mental note here never to go into a 3-on-3 game with you.
You can try. You never know. Maybe you have a secret talent.
I could take it across the ceiling in an indoor gym, maybe. Ninja skills.
Yeah, that's also good.
And then I understand that after you play a game or several games or lots of games, in a row, as you sometimes do, you could go out and celebrate and drink lots of beer.
Yeah, of course. That's what we did yesterday. After game, it's always in overtime when you drink beers and booze around. So basically, that's why we are playing on the local courts, because yeah, basketball is fun, but in overtime, it's get messy.
So what you're saying, really, the message that I'm hearing is the only reason that you play basketball is that you then get to hang out and drink beers.
Social part is always important, like the conferences, for example. The social part is important there.
Can you imagine if we play basketball at user events?
I can. Yeah, for if the event is taking for a few days, for example, then of course there's possibility for that. Sports are
Yeah.
always welcome for me.
I think I might mention to the Mark Christie and Ian Connolly that at Scottish Summit next time, they should have a basketball court.
Or at least a half court to play 3-on-3, not a
Yes.
full one, not
And
needed.
everybody needs to wear kilts.
Oh, that will be interesting for sure. Wearing kilts, that heavy stuff, playing basketball. I can't imagine playing basketball in kilt, but who knows?
Try something
Scottish
new
Summit
every
is
time.
awesome, so maybe we can try.
Maybe so. Maybe so. I'm going to put it as a suggestion for Scottish Summit 2022.
Good to know. I need to prepare, so I need to play in kilt before the Scottish Summit. That's for sure.
I'm sure we can arrange a kilt to be gotten over to to you so that you could trade adequately for it.
Yeah, would be nice.
It would be nice indeed. So going from basketball, beer drinking, kilts to the oops factor, what do you have to share with us today?
Oh, the oops factor. I
Oh
have
yeah,
a
that one.
really recent one
Ooh.
that was like 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago.
Oh,
I
really recent.
think around UG, London UG. That was
Okay,
like three weeks ago, I think, now, from now.
something like that. Yeah.
So yeah, I was watching Joe Griffin's session about data flows, and I was like, yeah, I need to make that data flow in one of my projects and try it out because I need to replace some legacy console app that is importing data. And I think, okay, let's go with the data flow. It was like Friday evening, so we are almost off the work, but I was like, okay, I need to try the data flow. And I quickly managed to get data flow working. It seemed okay. I was like, okay, perfect. I pushed the data flow on my test instance. I tried it out on the data on a smaller data set. And I was like, oh, that's working perfectly. And I was like, well, let's say it's Friday, but I want to push that to production because it's working and I want to things going that way. And it was a simple import of the price list. So I have like prices, SKUs for the products, and just need to import a large data set, like 3 million records, and just try
Oh,
it.
okay. That's a
And
small number of records there. 3 million. I mean, phew.
And it was like, okay, let's do it because I checked it on test that everything was working. And I was like, yeah, let's do it on production data. And I started import and we are just planning how we are going for a pints of beer. And I said, well, let's check the import and how it's going. And I was like, okay, the import is okay, but the prices are, oh my God, the prices are too big. And I was like, okay, yeah, it's too big, but what's the case? I
What do
go
you mean by
back.
too big?
The problem was with the decimal separator. The new file that I get was everything in Croatian culture, so the dates and everything else was based on Croatian culture, but the prices were not. They had a different decimal separator from every other data in the data set, and it was pretty tricky because I set the culture for the whole data set to Croatian, but we used the other decimal separator. So the prices are times 1,000, and you can imagine you have a small car part that costs about $1, and now it costs $1,000. And imagine if you are calculating maintenance fee for 5 years, you can imagine how many that small parts do you need for maintenance for 5 years. Yes, that's a lot. And I was like, okay, I have a backup plan. I can just stop the data flow and go the legacy method and import the right data. And it is easy fix. But a problem with data flows for the Power Platform is that you can stop a data flow once
Once
it
you
is
stop, well, once you start, you
once you
can't
start
stop.
it, you can't stop it. Yeah, on the Power BI side, you can easily stop it, but on the Power Platform side, you can stop it. And I engaged a support ticket. They said they can help me on Monday, and I was like, okay, that's not the help I need at the moment. And I was like, okay, yeah, I will just pull it through and wait for that data flow to finish the job. And I hoped that nobody will create new quote from that my data set because the
At
prices
like
will
9
go
p.m. or
wrong.
10 p.m. Friday
And of
night.
course, one user created one quote at like 8 p.m. at Friday night. And I was like, okay,
What
we
the
have a
heck were they
problem.
thinking? What the
Yeah, but
heck
I
were they
was,
thinking? Like, come on, you don't
they're
do stuff Friday night.
selling cars late night. I was like, no, that's not gonna happen. They won't say sell car on the May thing and a Friday evening. That's not gonna happen. But of
You
course,
know,
it
I can imagine
happened.
the scenario, right? I can imagine the scenario, right? They're down at the local pub and they're drinking beers and they're expecting you to be there because without you knowing, they know who you are and they know that you deal with the system. And the sales guy's like, look, Ivan is not turning up. I'll tell you what, I'll get you his beer if you buy a car. And the guy's like,
Yeah,
sweet, yeah.
you have a cheap car for me? Yes, of course. Go for an arc web. Yeah, that's ridiculous. But the best part is after that data flow finished and I tried to check the data set, but what went wrong? And I again executed that package that I had for the legacy import. And now I have a problem that I still got that big prices out there. And after examination of the both packages, what are they doing different? What are they doing wrong? I also saw that the new CSV file does not have trimmed values, and I didn't have that in previous imports. And I was like, okay, from now on we have this import. I was not handling that non-trimmed values before, and I figured out that my import is doing the wrong job for like a year and a half. And that price list is updated every 3 months, I think. And
Wow.
every CSV file that is delivered to us was just like random. Some files had trimmed values, some not. It was a pretty big mess, but that fail with Dataflow find out much bigger problem that was present there for a year and so, but we have some fallback methods if prices are like a big difference from the median value, then it just pulls the value from the web service in that case, and then you're good to go. But that's a pretty big issue that we had for
Wow.
more than a year and was found from my failure with Dataflow when I was learning data flows. So
So now it's
that's the
fixed.
weird story. Yes, now it's fixed because I spent whole weekend to find out what's causing the problem, and in Monday morning everything was perfect. Like there was never a bug. I also told the guy, oh yeah, there was a tiny little bug with that your quote. Just recalculate it and you're good to go. You will get the right values. That's some Microsoft problem. Of course, Microsoft is always uh, the main suspect in this kind of scenarios.
Oh,
You
definitely.
need to rely on some third party there. It's not always your fault. That's for sure.
No, no, no. It's not. Okay. So the data flows are now running fine, is what we're saying.
No, I just declined the data flow route and I went the old legacy. And because of that, I will try to go data flow route in future. But when I will be more, maybe when they are more reliant, when I can actually stop the data flow when I don't want to run it for a day or so, because it's
Ah.
And I also saw that data flows are running pretty slow in comparison to that legacy imports that I made. So
Ah, okay.
that's also a case why I'm not still transitioned that to the data flow at the end.
I was going to ask you about that because I upload all my data through the legacy one. So I was going to ask you about if Dataflow is any good in terms of speed and things, but from the sound of it, not.
Yeah, they're not that good because the traditional way I'm using Kingsway Soft to just to import the data,
Ah,
the
okay.
legacy way because it's a pretty big data set and I need to do transformations of data there. And I can do all that in data flows, but in terms of speeds, it's like data flows are 3 times slower than the Kingsway Soft import at a
Ouch.
time. So I thought it's in the cloud, it will run faster, but yeah, it's still not because it's free, of course. They don't want to give you full compute power just to
Well,
use the free
yes,
service, I think.
that is true. Yes. Yeah. Well, at some point, hopefully, it'll be better. But
I hope so,
basically,
yeah.
lessons learned. Well, we should always look at the data that we're using and just check the data is always the same
Yeah,
formats.
I just hate that culture formats differences through from culture to culture. For example, date times, it's just crazy. I so many times I caused big problems with dates. The dates are from zone time zones, of course. Yeah, and that's ridiculous how many times I went the wrong route with date formatting and stuff like that with time zones.
It does happen. It does
Yeah,
happen.
of course.
Brilliant. Well, Ivan, thank you so much for coming on the show. Some really great lessons from there.
Yeah, definitely. It's always best. You always learn best when it happens to you. So I'm sure I will not uh, repeat that kind of errors anymore.
I look forward to you doing a presentation at a UG on Dataflow.
So my experience of disaster data flows or
Disaster
disaster
data
data
flows.
flow
Triple D. Yeah. D to
sounds
the
good.
three. D to the
Three.
power of three. Yeah. D3. Yeah. I think that's good.
Yeah, funny enough.
Definitely. Well, once again, thank you so much for coming on, users, viewers, even who generally users as
Wow.
well. We hope that should you choose to go and look at data flows, you bear these important
Yeah.
concepts in mind.
Damn you, Joe Griffin. You shouldn't show me data flows.
We love Joe. We love Joe.
Yeah,
He is the real MVP.
the true one.
Definitely. Yes. Also, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Take a look at the other Oops Factor playlists. Take a look at the blog. And if you yourself would like to come on the Oops Factor, feel free to hit the link in the description below, drop in your details, and I'll get a line over to you to appear. But above all, have a wonderful day.